This is Derek Prawl with IWCE. I have with me Paul Breakman of NRECA. Paul, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role and what your organization does?
Sure. Great. Thanks, Derek. My name's Paul Breakman again. I'm a senior director at the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association. I work in our business and technology strategies group. And NRECA, as you termed it, we represent 900 electric co-ops across the country. These are very rural utilities spread out over 48 states. And we are the National Trade Association in DC. We do a lot of advocacy work, sort of business modeling, trying to help our members in all those states succeed. You know, when you think about co-ops, we represent 42% of those distribution lines. So basically all those flyover states and others. And it's about 12% of the electricity load in the country. And we represent, basically our members have 7 customers per mile. So if you think about when you're driving through those very rural areas, a lot of them the majority of them are co-op territories. So it's great to be here, Derek.
Well, this is your first time speaking at IWCE. Can you tell us what you're going to be speaking about and why it was important to come to this conference to communicate your message?
Sure. So at NRECA, we're working with our members to help bridge that what we call the urban-rural divide in the broadband space, right? So a lot of our members don't have access to high-speed internet, and those that do are underserved. And so what I'm speaking on here at the conference is just that. We're trying to work with our members, and our members are rolling out broadband. They're helping their communities succeed. They're getting involved in small pilot projects. We have about 100 or so electric co-ops that are in the broadband business. And so we're just trying to get the message out. The value in the co-op family, as we like to call it, is really partnerships, and we like to call it cooperation among cooperatives, but it's also very much those partnerships within the community, partnerships with the vendors, the folks here. So I'm excited to be here and talk to a lot of the vendors and form those partnerships. We do a lot of things like vendor assessment at NRECA, so we talk to vendors and then we put them in touch with our members, and then we continue to monitor those successful relationships.
Very good. We're happy to have you here, and we're excited to hear you speak. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing specifically to bring broadband to these underserved rural communities?
Sure. Thanks, Derek. So when we talk about broadband, I like to think of it more as the digitalization of the utility system, right? So we have all these utilities spread out across 48 states, and when we think about the electricity grid of the future and how we serve those communities, it's really things like smart grid and access to data and what that means to the electric grid as a whole. And so when I talk to my members, I always say, listen, it's important that you digitalize your system, and a lot of them are, and then you can leverage those investments to serve your members, right? And we don't say you need to get into the retail broadband business, but they need to form relationships, partnerships, talk to folks in the community and how they serve those members. Like I said, whether or not a co-op goes into the broadband business, that's their own decision. We like to say that if you've met one co-op, you've met one co-op, and I've recently rolled out a number of case studies of co-ops that are in the broadband business, and what we're finding is that you talk to 12 different co-ops who've done broadband, and you're going to get 12 different business models, 12 different kinds of technology, and plus. So we just support what they're doing. We vet technology, we vet business models, we talk to them about legal implications and sort of everything in between.
So when we talk about the role of co-ops in deploying broadband in these underserved communities, can you tell me a little bit about the benefits of doing that? Why is this such an important mission?
So digitalization of those communities is very important, right? So when you think about the economic development for rural America, things like precision agriculture, working remotely, health services, those are all related very closely to the internet. And we've got about 6 million co-op customers without access. That's not underserved. That's not served. And so what we're doing is we're going out there and trying to find ways to bring that high-speed digitalization to those communities. And 75 years ago, when we electrified rural America, we didn't talk about electricity as a commodity that we were interested in. We were just trying to serve the communities and trying to bring electricity to those farms. And so we kind of compare it to doing that now, and the importance of bringing internet to those communities. We've been at it a long time. I ran across an NRECA pamphlet the other day from 1997 that talked about the importance of the internet. And the majority of those surveyed thought the internet was going to be very important. I think it's safe to say that 20 plus years later, it's not more, it's 100%. And so we're still working, but we're here and we're working hard.
Well, great. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and welcome to IWCE.
Thanks, Derek.